Standard list controller. Okay, what is a standard list controller? Standard list controller is basically one more type of controller where you use the same standard controller as we were using earlier for displaying data. But the difference between a usual standard controller and a standard list controller is that a standard list controller will be used to display list of records from the objects. Got it? So previously we were displaying one single record on a page. So we were kind of designing the detailed pages of the records. Okay. Now this standard list controller can be used for displaying the list of records for the page. Okay, and we will be displaying the list of records from the object. Right. So good thing will be that you will not need to supply the ID in the page and all, and a list of records can be displayed on the Visualforce page. All right. How do we create a standard list controller page? Let's just go ahead and check it. Log in. Okay. So there is this standard list controller which needs to be created. You just have to use the standard controller first. All right. And then there is an attribute which needs to be used in the page. So let me just get started in 9 minutes. Something that we did yesterday. Okay. While I try to create this page, it does not give me the option to create a new page. What can be the reason for this? I'm trying to create a new page. It says that the page does not exist and I don't get to see that option to create a new page. What can be the reason for this?
Developer privileges might not be there.
Sorry, what is not there?
Developer privileges might not be there for the user.
But this current user that we are dealing with is a system administrator. So he has that privilege. We discussed a small thing. We talked about making a small setup change in the first session. What did we do? My settings, development mode. Development mode is not enabled. So if you do not have development mode enabled, then you will not be able to create the page from the URL. See, this is not enabled. And so anytime you feel that you're not getting that option of creating the page, you should just go and turn on this development mode and click on save. Now let's go ahead and repeat the same thing. delete everything after salesforce.com slash double one. Yeah. So once the development mode has been enabled, you have this option of create page. It will throw the error. Along with that, it will also give you the option of creating a page. So click on this. Use the standard controller here. So a standard list controller is also a standard controller first of all. So you just have to use the standard controller, whichever you want to use. Let's say account, you can use that. Along with that, you have to use one more attribute here, which is called records at var. Okay, records at var is basically a variable, an attribute to define a variable for the set of records, for the list of records. Got it? So you have to use this variable to define the list of records from the account object, or whichever object you are using as a standard controller. Got it? Now you can give it any name that you want. Records at var can be given any name. I will call it ACTS. Okay, so I call it list of accounts, and then inside this, because I have to display multiple records, I need one more component, which is a table, which is a table component, page block table. Okay, so once you use a page block table, inside the table you can display multiple records. All right, so we have the option of defining the columns inside the table. So apex page block table component needs to be used, and inside this page block table component there are again two attributes which need to be defined. One is value and one is variable. Okay, these two components, these two attributes need to be defined under the page block table component. In the value, you'll have to define what all data you want to display inside the table. So I want to display the list of accounts. For list of accounts, I've already defined a variable ACTS. That's what I will define here. All right, so this is what I want to show inside the table as value. Okay, the set of records or list of records that goes in as a value for the table. Variable is a small one more variable for this long expression. Instead of using this long expression value, we are using a variable for the value. Okay, so why I'm defining variable? This variable we will use inside the table component, because creating the table component will not do the job. I'll also have to go ahead and create the um, columns inside the table component, right? Okay, so now inside the table component we need the columns. So first column I will say value. Okay. Now for while you're defining a column, you'll have to define which field you want to put in that particular column, right? And that needs to be defined as a value attribute here. For a column, there is an attribute called value, and that value attribute is where we define which field or column that we want to use that column for. So let's say a dot name. So this column will be used for displaying the name for the list of values, list of accounts. All right, so this column is for the name, and let's say there's one more for phone number. Save it. You see this, how we are displaying list of records. Now I don't have to supply the ID in the URL or anything, because I'm not talking about one single record here. I'm talking about list of accounts, and this is how we actually display it. So we have not done much here. We've just used a apex page block component, and when you are using a page block components in the page sorry, not page block table component, and when you're using a page block table, you have to define the value as the list of records that you want to show in that table. All right, so that comes from the record set var, which we have defined in the first line itself. Okay, a variable for the list of records from the standard object, from the standard controller object. And inside the table, we have created two columns. And you can create whatever number of columns you want. Right now, I just created two columns. One is the account name, another is the phone number. And here is the output if you look into this. All right. If you want more fields, just define that. See, whichever field you need, you can just bring in the field. That's it. That's how simple it is. Here, let me know if there is any doubt or question here with the standard list controller. Is it simple? All right. So let's do a small activity where I want you to create a page to display list of all contacts. Okay, and the fields that I need are the first name, the last name, the email ID, title, So for contact, I need first name, last name, email, title, and account name. Account name, account name of the contact, to which account the contact belongs to, and the phone and the mobile. These are the fields that I want you to put in the table. Okay, standard list controller page for contacts with these fields. Let's quickly do this. 5 minutes for this activity. Now the next thing that we are going to talk here is about uh, okay, before doing that, before I start discussing about what exactly we are going to do, let me create one more page here, and this time let me create a page for displaying list of opportunities. Yes, and standard controller should be opportunity, and record set where should be something whatever you feel like. Text page block. Page block table value marks where in column dot were you guys able to get the account name in the table, contact table?
Yes.
Okay, so what will I need to do if I have to put account name in opportunity table? If I have to put the account name in the opportunity table, what will I need to do?
You need account's name, right? So
Yeah, so how do I put here in the value? If I need a column to
the
display the name of the account, parent account, how do I do that?
yeah, o dot account dot name.
Exactly. O dot account dot name, because it's actually going to the from the opportunity, it goes to the account, which is the parent of the opportunity, and we're trying to display a field from the parent. So that's how it's going to be. Opportunity spelling is correct, right? Expected revenue, expected. Okay, the spelling is wrong. So it shows you the list of opportunities along with the account name. Now, if you see here, there are 20 opportunities being displayed here. If you count, it's 20. All right. How many opportunities I have in total? How can we understand how many opportunities do we have in total? It's showing me 20. How many opportunities I have in total? Where can we check that? Anyone? From how will you get to know? How many records you have for a certain object? What is the best way of checking that? Very basic thing.
In all opportunities, we have it.
In all opportunities, you will get to see the list of all opportunities.
And you have the count over there, right?
Where will you see that?
1 to 25 or 36.
36. Correct. Okay. So now I have how many opportunities? 36. Out of 36, I am actually getting to see 20. X colon 830. Okay. So why are we not getting to see the other records? Because by default, a standard list controller page can display 20 records on a page. By default, it displays only 20 records on a page. The standard list controller, right? So if it's displaying 20 on a page, then how do you get to see the other records, the remaining records? For that, you can use pagination, or you can use an action button to go to the next page. How will that happen? That thing can happen from by first of all, let's create a button, command button. You know what's a command button, right? Text command button, and the value can be next page, action can be next. Okay, command button always need to appear within the form component. That's what we saw yesterday. All that you have to do is you just have to use the text put it here. That's it. Okay, now this next page button will take you to the next set of records. Okay, so there is this standard action called next, which works only with standard list controller page. Okay, the name of the action itself is next, predefined action, which takes you to the next page. The same way you have one more action which is called previous, which will take you to the previous page. Once you have actually gone to the next page, what will you do? How will you come back? So you have the option of a previous page. The value can be anything, as we discussed earlier as well. You can write whatever you want in value, and in the action you have to write next and previous. That's it. So click on next page, come here, go to the previous page, you go to the previous page. Are we okay with it? Is there any doubt or question here? Let me know. Any difficulty understanding this? The next and previous. There are two more actions, similar actions. One is called first, one is called last. So these four actions are there, which are the standard actions defined for standard list controller pages. They work only with standard list controller. Next, previous, to go to the next page and to the previous page. First and last. First will take you to the first page. In case you have multiple pages, then the first button will take you to the first page and last button will take you to the last page. Got it? So that's how the pagination thing can be defined in the standard list controller. One moment. Okay. So we are clear with the pagination part of the standard list controller page. Now the next thing that we are going to talk here is how do we edit the records in a page in a table. We have seen in previous examples that we can edit the data on the page as well, and edit and then save the changes. Now, how do I edit the data in a column or in a table? What will I need to do in order to edit it? Let's say in the table itself, I want this particular column to be editable. Which component did we use for editing the data?
Input field.
Input field. So how will I use the input field here? I'll use the input field here in this particular code. Where will I accommodate the input field? Just try to figure it out.
Under
Where I
block
will,
table.
where?
Block table. You have
Page block table. Okay. So after this, inside the table, where exactly should we use the
before
input
that.
field?
Before table.
So before the table, okay. Before the table, ideally it should not be used because I cannot put a complete table inside the field. What is that you can put inside input field thing? What value input field component takes? What value do we supply to the input field component?
In the O dot name or something, the field that comes from
Right.
that.
So input field component usually takes the field name as an argument. Correct? The name of the field. Name of the field is what we are defining here. So we should not put it outside the page block table. Just for your understanding, that how you actually figure out certain things which you are not aware of, where exactly it should be put and all that stuff. So this is something which has to be put along with the input field component, definitely needs to be put along with the name o dot name or o dot amount or something like that, right? So if you're talking about just making it for the opportunity name, then we should use it with this. Now, this input field needs to be used within this column. I want to make this entire column as input field. All right. So in that case, what I will need to do is I will just need to go and let me comment it out. What is commenting? What does this mean? Anyone commenting?
It's not the part of the code, just the comment.
Yes, it's just a comment, and this is how you actually comment out something. So let me just comment out what exactly we had here, and let's put it as an input field. So all that you have to do, it's pretty simple. All that you have to do is you have to start the column component. I have to put the input field component inside the column. So if I have to put one more component inside one of the component, existing component, I have to start that column component. I have to end the column component, and within these two lines, I have to use the input field component. That's it. And value can be o dot name. That's it. So anything that you need to put inside column has to be done like this. Start the column, end the column, and then put the component inside the column. Instead of putting value to the column, I have put value inside the input field component. Now this data gets displayed as an input field component here on the page. So you have the option of making changes wherever you want. Right? Give me 1 minute. This charger needs to be plugged in. 1 minute. Yes. Got it. Fine. So it's simple how we are using the input field component here inside the column. Okay, so that's it. That's how it works. All right. There's one more small thing that you would notice here, that the header value has gone. The moment you remove the value attribute from the column, see, when you use a value attribute in the column itself, then what happens? The column takes the header name from that particular field. But in this case, I'm not using any value attribute on the column. So the column header is gone. You don't see the column header anymore here, right? So if the column header is not being displayed, all that you have to do is you can manually put it as a header value. Header value can be opportunity name. Okay, so that's how it works.
Jeet, one question.
Mm-hmm.
The header that you have added right now, say there is a case where you go to an object and there's no data at all in that object. that opportunity name or the header that you have mentioned, that would still get displayed, right, on the UI.
Right.
Is there a way to take care of that?
Uh, so the moment you're using these column attributes, and if you're putting the header value, this will get displayed. That's correct. One way we can be, if you don't render the table completely, if there is no data, the table itself should not be rendered, then nothing will be rendered.
If there's no data, the table should not be rendered. So you have to put the code somewhere else to make sure that it checks
Yeah,
to
if you
see if
want,
the data.
yeah, we have to put some condition where we say that the render the table only if there is at least one record in the data. If there is no data, then don't
Oh,
render the table itself. So this entire thing should not be
okay.
shown. Fine.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So that's what we are going to do today. We just go back and work on this. Try working on this with a couple of other objects. Maybe work with opportunity or anything that you feel like. And once we meet tomorrow, we are gonna